Hey guys. Hope you all had a good Christmas. I am just going to give you a little insight into an update of what's going on in the toy shop today. So I had a few days off for the holidays. Went up to Pennsylvania to visit my parents. And now we are back. And so I don't want to say getting caught up, but picking up where I left off. And I'm putting together this Busch one-of-a-kind Ultra for my daughter. So I'm going to put it on this display case. Got the label printed off, trimmed to size, at least so I think so. Let's see how this lines up here. It's a little off. I'm going to come this way just a little bit. Getting these things lined up is sometimes a little difficult. The good thing is they're not overly sticky. So there's a little bit of freedom that you have. But obviously once you can't stick it on too many surfaces and peel it up without it having some problems. So that works. It's not perfectly straight, but it's pretty good. So yeah, I hope you guys had a nice Christmas. Spending it with your family and loved ones. Remembering the birth of Christ. I'll share during this video, I won't say a pet peeve, but just an interesting observation that I've had for years. This isn't the best case. It's got some marks and scratches on it, but the different biblical accounts of Jesus' birth and what took place and all that kind of stuff. One thing that's always interested me, I shouldn't say always, right? I should say one thing that's troubled me is the three wise men, or the wise men, right? So there's wise men that have come from the east, and they come to worship Jesus once they see the star, right? So they see the star, they travel. Some say three because there are three gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And then you have the encounter in Jerusalem as they show up in Jerusalem. King Herod's there. Say, hey, we've seen a star. We understand that indicates a king is born, the Messiah, the anointed one, the promised one of God, and they have come to worship him. Very interesting, right? I do think there's probably a correlation between Daniel and the time that he spent in Babylon and the outer regions there east of Jerusalem, and the wise men. Don't think there's a coincidence there, and that's the impact of Daniel over centuries. Anyways, that's a whole nother topic. But the wise men come, and then they come to Herod, and Herod's like, yeah, go find him. As they say, hey, yeah, the king's supposed to be born in Bethlehem. And then of course, they go, and the scripture says they went and they saw the young child. So I do not believe the wise men were there at the birth of Christ. I believe that Jesus, at this time, had already been circumcised. They had already gone to Jerusalem and worshipped, as it says in Luke, a good month I think it was, after his birth. And so, anyways, yeah, I think it's later they show up, and Mary and Joseph, I'm sure Jesus was still young, a baby, but the scripture says young child, which is interesting. Anyways, then so all these nativity scenes with the 3 wise men and their gifts, I don't think so. I don't think so. Sure, you got the shepherds, you got the animals, Mary and Joseph and the angels, but I don't think the wise men were there when Jesus was born. I think it was months later. And then, of course, being warned of God in a dream, they do not go back to Jerusalem, and they take a different route to go back to their country. And then Herod, of course, does what sinful people do. You know, there's always a good discussion about the sovereignty of God, and if God's in control, why do bad things happen? And, that's, Matthew chapter 2 is a good example of that, right? The angel, God, or God, warns Joseph and warns the wise men, but apparently the parents of Bethlehem and the surrounding areas were not warned. We don't really know, but we suspect no. And Herod sends his troops, and could you imagine, ordered to kill all males under the age of 2 in Bethlehem and in all the surrounding areas. But Jesus had fled with Mary and Joseph, of course, and they went to Egypt. So the wise men come, they give the gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh, and I'm sure that the gold was a welcome gift because, now they had the money to travel. This is, Mary and Joseph are not well off, that's for sure. But now with these gifts, they're able to travel and flee the wrath of a jealous king. But God allowed that to happen. And actually, it was even prophesied that there would be weeping and wailing in that region. And so, it's sad, but Herod actually was fulfilling Scripture. Sin is real, and as much as we like to think that there's, God's in control, and he is in control, but at the same point, and maybe we don't understand this in our finite minds, but there is wickedness, and God allows it to happen, and he allows men at times to do wicked things to one another, and other times you see where he stops it, but sometimes he doesn't. And it's during those times when people question, the righteousness of God. Oh, if he's a good God, why did he allow this to happen? Or, usually it's, it's a very personal thing, like whether a child gets sick and dies, or, or some other calamity happens to a child, especially, children are, vulnerable and innocent. But, very interesting thoughts. But the Scripture teaches us that God is good. God does good. And at the same time, like I said, at the same time, though, there is the sinfulness of man, the sinfulness of this world, the wickedness of Satan. And, obviously he's working to try to kill the Christ. You see throughout, the Gospels, Jesus is preaching, and then, he's getting ready. he has ticked off so many people. They're getting ready to pick up stones to stone him. And whew, he whisks away. It wasn't his time. But then there was a time, for his death. So, interesting. So I think the account is that, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph were in Bethlehem. He's born. They eventually get a house in Bethlehem for him to kind of stay there and grow, and for Mary to heal. She can't travel. And then the wise men come, and they worship, give the gifts, and then they skedaddle out of there. Herod does his wickedness. And then, of course, I think I don't know if it's at the end of Matthew 2 or Matthew 3, but, you see, all right, Herod dies. And then Joseph and Mary and Jesus come back from Egypt. And it says that they settle in Galilee, which is actually where it all started, in the city of Nazareth, which is where Joseph and Mary are kind of grow up. They go to Bethlehem, of course, because Joseph was of the house of David, and that's David's hometown, so they had to be taxed. So that's interesting how God uses the taxing. The taxing, I'm sure, was very frustrating to everybody. All right, everybody go back to their hometown, and you're going to get taxed. Great. But they were obedient to their government, even though it was oppressive government. They were obedient, and thereby God was able to have Scripture fulfilled, that the Messiah would be born in Bethlehem, not in Nazareth. But, yeah, so, interesting. Very interesting. So I'm not a fan of having the wise men in the nativity scene, because I don't think they were there when he was born. I think the star appeared after he was born, or at his birth, something like that. And then the wise men, traveling back in those days was a long, arduous process. So I could imagine it took months. And also some people say that, the wise men, the magi, could have been hundreds of wise men. Could have been a large company of wise men. And what were those ancient wise men? They were probably what we would call today's philosophers or scientists even. An educated bunch. So, anyways, that's some Christmas thoughts for you guys today, as I'm working on this Anthony Alfredo fictional Taco Bell car. Come along pretty good so far. I've got the sides to put on. And then the back piece here. But I've got on everything that I needed to at the moment. So let's look at this. Kyle Busch 2013 Monster Energy Zero Ultra. So what I've done so far, and it's coming along okay, although I'm not overly happy with it, I'll be honest with you. So got this front end, got the hood on, and I've got a coat of sealer on it. Let me show you this side, right? So this side's okay, but when you come back to this back corner, this is where all the trouble is, right? So I had to piece in a couple pieces on this back end because the decal doesn't stretch all the way. You can see right there, right? It comes up short. So I got to trim a couple pieces and put them in. The other thing I did was I trimmed the fuel door, which is integrated with this little side taillight piece. Cut that out and I slid it over so that it would line up with the rear tailgate. So then I had to put in some pieces behind there. And that's why that looks like that. So It's not the smoothest of things, because when you're piecing things together, inevitably you have some overlap, and that's what that is. So when you come around this way, I've got, crap, fell off. I had a piece there, and as you can see, it wasn't holding on very well. I'm not sure why, guys. This happened on the other side too, but for some reason, I got a fuzzy on my clippers here. I don't know. I get a little annoyed when things don't work out, which should be very simple, right? This should go on here, and it should be very simple. But for some reason, it just doesn't want to stay. It just didn't want to stay there. No matter how many times I press, I kind of did this a few hours ago actually, and it still will not stay. So it's not the best whenever you're piecing this stuff in. But anyways, I'm now ready. This will probably move, but I'm now ready to put this in. And maybe this is inconsistent on my part, but I did not cut out that side tail light piece because, I don't know, I just didn't want the gap like I had on the other side. So it's going to go where it goes. So let's see if I can get this to lay on top of that, like that, see? Trim up here. I'm going to come this way a little bit. See how that pulls away and leaves a little bit of a gap there? Okay. All right. So this lines up pretty good up here. Yeah. Working these wrap cars, especially on this side, you can see how much is overlap there on the window. That's a pain in the butt. Trim some side here so that can tuck. I'm going to get some micro sole here in a minute. Or maybe not. Yeah, I don't need it. So I spliced in a piece up here and then up here. Yeah, my mom made some brisket for Christmas dinner. Ooh, good stuff. Good stuff. She's 80 years old. She's got all those old recipes from church cookbooks from, decades ago. And, I mean, she's getting up there. She's obviously not as good of a cook as she was, but she's still got some skills there. And, made some nice brisket in the oven. turned out really good. So that was nice. Nice Christmas dinner. Alright, so let's see if I can stretch this a little bit. Yeah. Alright, so that's pretty good. So it's not as far away as it could be. Smooth this out here. She made some green bean casserole, had some corn casserole too that she had, and then she made this 7-layer Jell-O salad. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but it's all these thin layers of Jell-O, different colors. And our daughters really like that. It's kind of, looks cool. And Jell-O, who doesn't like Jell-O, And so, so she made that, and she's funny, right? She said, that Jell-O salad takes longer to make than anything else. Because you have, layer 1, and then you pour it in, and you got to let it harden in the fridge, for hours, and then layer 2, and then layer 3, and it's like the same thing over and over again. And so yeah, that was, and it's always really good, right? It's fruity, sweet. It's a nice little gelatin kind of side dish. Not really dessert, because she had made some pies. My mom loves making pies, and of course, nobody complains. And I don't want to say her favorite pie, but one of her favorite pies to make and for us to consume is a custard pie. Oh my gosh, guys. Oh my gosh. She's been making custard pies since, I don't know, before I was born, I imagine. But, yeah, she made a custard pie. And my dad and I are fighting over it, Dad, I'll get you a piece, and I cut him this, really small sliver as he's sitting there, right? And then I'll make myself basically a piece and a half, and I'll come in and sit down, and he's like, hey, what's this, I was like, yeah, you asked for a piece of custard pie, and he's like, yeah, but you just gave me a sliver, and he'd look at my piece, and it's massive. So yeah, I had to get up and get up another piece. I said, you finish that, and I get you another one. So, anyways, it's fun. It's fun. I know the time of my, hanging out with my parents is, those days are few and far between, and time's getting short, My dad's 84, and my mom's 80. And, I don't know, just try to cherish those times, with them as much as you can. So, alright, this is not wanting to stay here. I can see I gotta cut my fingernails. Alright, so how we doing here? I got a little... This is kind of bunched up a little bit now in the back for some reason. Got some nice sweatshirts for Christmas. I love Carhartt sweatshirts, like hooded sweatshirts. And got a couple new ones. So that's always cool, some different colors. So you might see a different colored sleeve. This is an older one. Kind of a olive green. But you might see a new color. Actually, I got two colors, kind of bold colors. So yeah, so that's nice. Nice gift. Always enjoy hooded sweatshirts. Now that we're in this, 2 years into this stupid COVID stuff, and spent a lot of time in my basement working from home, and just like having a hooded sweatshirt on. So a couple more added to my closet. I used to get those shirt and tie combinations, like as I was working, wearing shirts and ties to work and stuff. And I mean, I still do when I go into the office sometimes, but I've got a few of those already. I don't really need any more because I really don't wear them anymore. I mean, maybe like once a month. I mean, I wear them to church and stuff, but don't really wear a lot of shirt and ties anymore. So, all right, so you guys can see how this is coming along. Pretty happy with this. I got this little piece to put on here, which is right here, and I'll trim it. I'll line it up and trim it a little bit because I don't want to cover up the headlight. So I'll get that on here next, and then you got this little B post, B pillar here to go right there. That looks pretty good. Yeah. So they don't touch back here, but again, what I would have had to have done was cut that out, slide it that way, and then fill in the gap somehow, like I did on the other side. And I don't know, I just wasn't up for it. So I have a gap there. I don't know, it is what it is. I'm mounting it in this case, and it's going to be like this, right? This is the side that's going to be looked at. So I don't know, not perfect, but that's the way this thing is turning out. So all right, in the last minute here, let me show you what else is going on. So got this Ty Gibbs decaled. That was a difficult thing. There's not a whole lot going on there, but you need to put some coats of clear sealer on it and then get the dull coat out. Got this Justin Allgaier to do. I think I'm going to do the Godel next. Mr. Adams, I got your two to do there. And I did pick up some donor cars. Picked up a couple COTs here off of eBay. So you'll see some COTs here in the near future. Gonna do that All-Star Monster. Gonna do another Keselowski championship car. Gonna do this Trump 66 car. So God bless you guys.